If you're watching this video, then you're at the point where you are beginning the second part of your summative assignment for Map 4C. So also you would have received back some feedback from me regarding your choice of career and answers to the 5 questions that you see here in this template that you downloaded from the course website. Research typed into, saved, and printed to hand in. So I had chosen as an example of how to become an interior designer, and I went about answering a few questions just to give you an example of that. On the course website, you'll also find a rubric that was used for part 1 to help guide and assess the quality of your work. So in beginning part 2, what we really need to focus on between now and when we break for holidays is the mathematical portion of the project. So with that being said, we're going to focus on filling in the second page. That is, how does this course, Foundations of Mathematics 12, relate to being an interior designer, or in your case, whatever your example happens to be. So what I would propose is that we take a look at the course outline to remember the types of maths that we have gone through, as well as what we need to accomplish yet. Okay, so at the front of your binders, you should have this course outline, and on the back you're going to notice the various different units with performance tasks stuck in between. Performance tasks were simply the evaluations that we had gone through. So we can see number 2, we have trigonometry, measurement and geometry, exponential functions, which we're working with, and annuities will represent the financial math that we'll see. 1 variable data and 2 variable data, we've already studied those. You might remember 2 variable data coming up with our XY graphs, performing regressions on scatter plots to come up with lines and curves of best fit. And at the end of the course, we're going to look at designing budgets. We'll also discuss renting and owning. So when you take a look at these different units, you know where we've been, and with the career that you have, you could probably start to brainstorm what types of maths could be helpful within that career, or preparing yourself to enter into that type of career. It could even be the mathematics you need to prepare for getting into the college of your choice, as many colleges have math entry type questions on aptitude tests, so you might find yourself completing one of those in the future. So with these units set before us, and in thinking about interior design, I'm definitely going to go back and focus on trigonometry and measurement and geometry, because interior design is such a spatial type of profession that those types of maths would definitely play into it. I can also see where perhaps some budget design might come in when dealing with costing out of particular projects, especially if one is running their own business. So what I'm going to say at this point in time is I'm going to cover trig and measurement, but once we get a little bit further through the course, I might then go back and work in an example for designing budgets. So as of the next due date, I'm going to hand in whatever examples I can for the maths that I've studied, so long as they apply to the career I've chosen. And then I'm going to focus on other things later on. So let's have a look at this particular sheet. This is called the RAFT planning sheet. You would have received this at the very beginning of the project that took place, I'm going to say at least a couple of months ago. And we had filled out the R, the A, and the F, right? The role, the audience, for whom the work is being done. The format is how am I going to get my point across, either to the clients or to my audience and or to my teacher and peers, because they're going to be accountable for assessing and critiquing your work. In the final column, that one we had left blank for now, but today I'm going to have you start brainstorming some examples that you can work out and submit for assessment. So the idea here, if we read through this short paragraph, is that you provide and solve for me and your peers at least 4 math problems that relate to this assignment. And the emphasis, of course, needs to be on math that we've seen in our course. So you may use at most, and I want to say at most, 2 math problems found online. So if you're having difficulty generating your own or finding particular problems, then you can use an online source, provided that you do include the source. And what you should also try to do is to make the problem your own. So you might change specific aspects of the problem, such as what is it asking for. You might choose to change some of the data, but the basic framework for that problem is the same. So when I did some brainstorming, I came up with 2 examples for now. The third and the fourth, of course, is left for your imagination, as well as any other maths that will come up later in the course. So being that I'm in an interior design, I've chosen a particular topic that is of a wall pattern. So I'm going to map that to the trigonometry strand, and I'm going to try to generate a question that would not only satisfy interior design, but it's also going to satisfy the demands of this project. So here's my problem. I have a client that would like a particular pattern, a creative one, that includes at least 2 right angle triangles. Now take note, it says at least 2 triangles and that it is a pattern. This doesn't mean that the pattern only has triangles. Okay, it's just that it meets the trigonometry strand, because trig is about the mathematics of triangles. So the design that I would come up with in my answer might incorporate other shapes and might solve other problems. Okay, we studied a number of shapes and figures, that is 3-dimensional objects, in this course. So the wall has a length of 11 feet and a height of 9. Okay, so we're left with a particular area to work with. That is 99 square feet, to be specific. And I'm going to offer my clients at least 2 different designs for their approval. And I'm going to include some measurements. And it's important to show the measurements and something realistic. You could even go so far as to produce a scale diagram to show the customers what it's going to look like. Okay, so give them some measurements so they can actually see it and visualize the sizes, the proportions of the shapes that are on the wall. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the topic that I've come up with, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring it back to this sheet that you had online. Okay, the other sheet was kind of just for some brainstorming, and I would encourage you to do a lot of that before you start using this sheet. But under topic A, I'm just going to insert the topic, the problem itself, and then my solution. Okay, so the solutions are going to require a lot of work. Okay, you're going to have to plan this out exceptionally well at this stage, because if you don't do it now, And by the time you get to creating a poster, brochure, or PowerPoint, it's just not going to be effective, and you want it to be good. So let's just quickly design some ideas here. So what we might want to ensure that we do is that we have our two diagrams, okay? But we want to also include the concept of scale, okay? So just some notes to self. We're going to generate two drawings that incorporates at least two triangles along with, I'm going to say, at least one other shape if we're trying to create something that is creative and unique as a wall design. It could even be a design for a particular wall hanging. It may not necessarily have to be the entire wall. You might only want to fill a certain part of that with a large panel-sized um, painting or print. So we'll generate two drawings that incorporate at least two triangles along with at least one other shape, um, and drawn to scale. Okay, and other general notes with that: this is not a part of your solution, you're just brainstorming. You would still have to go ahead and provide the diagrams, right? So provide the detailed diagrams, right? Incorporate scale measurements. Okay, and the scale, you would definitely have to indicate what it is on paper. So these are just some ideas to get you going. Okay, so the real work now begins in creating the designs, doing the math that goes along with it. And remember that if you are using right triangles, you've got to incorporate some trigonometry. So you might want to consider Pythagorean theorem. You might want to consider the trig ratio, sine, cos, and or tangent, where you would be finding angle measures and side lengths. Okay, so let's leave that one go for now. The rest of the work would be for me if this was my project, or for you based on your own project. And we'll go back to the other topic that I had been thinking of. And this one here, I'm going to choose an online source because I wanted to find something that really was specific to the career, and I know nothing about the career, hence the reason why we're doing this project. So this might seem a bit out of place here, um, well, maybe not, but curtain installation, definitely the way you decorate a space might also be an aspect of design. So let's consider curtain installation. So this comes from the measurement strand, okay, where we are providing measurements of length, measurements of area, volume, doing unit conversions. So you remember having done that before. So here, let's put in, that's not exactly what I want to see. It seems to want to break up the table. Let's see if I can't introduce it here. All right, one more time. Let's paste it in so that, better. There we go. Okay, topic will be curtain installation. So we need to design a problem that's specific to this. And because I know little to nothing about curtain installation, I did go online, okay, and I found a particular magazine known as House Beautiful. And you can see it here as a magazine. And their writers, and of course magazines have many different writers of articles, have provided 10 must-know room measurements. Okay, so I scrolled my way down after much searching, and I found something called Window Treatment Width by Libby Langdon of House Beautiful. So Libby writes that curtains should be 2.5 to 3 times the width of the window. So if you've got two panels, meaning you've got curtains hanging on one side of the window and another set on the other side, each set is a panel, they should be 1.25 to 1.5 times the window width. And then she goes on to describe how long the rod should be, etc., to provide the perspective that your window is much wider than it really is. So I'm going to take that information, because I need it, because I know nothing about window dressing, and I'm going to bring it back into the project. So here's what I've come up with as a question. So as per the problem, the client has a window in their family room that they would like to dress with 2 panels of curtains. The window is given in metric, so in a standard unit of measurement in the metric system, it's 1.8288 meters wide. The curtain material is measured in inches, so it's either being purchased by measuring it out in inches. So the problem is, if each panel should be the dimensions that Libby has given us, 1.25 to 1.5 times as wide as the window, the problem that I'm posing is how wide should each panel be? Okay, so let's bring that problem into the document that you would be handing in. Okay, so there it is. I'm just going to space that a bit to make it more easy to read. Okay, so then we're going to have to plan a solution to this. Now, before we go ahead and do the solution, I want to make it really clear to you that you need to include a source for your information. Okay, I can't start reporting that this is what each panel should be and claim it as my own. That would just be wrong. So I'm going to go back to the site, and I'm going to follow the procedure that we had for documenting our sources. I'm going to take the URL for this online source, and also remember that with your sources, they don't all need to be online. They could be from a book, which is called a print source. They could come from personal knowledge, as long as you tell me that. It could come from an interview. I know that some people have family members or friends in particular professions who would be excellent sources of information. So I'm going to put in the URL there. I'm going to go back up here and look at my column headings. I've got the title of the document, capitalized first letter only. The document is here, 10 must-know room measurements. So let's take that back to our form, and we'll insert that here. Okay, I'm just going to format that to be the same font style that I have here. That was Calibri, so I'll change that. I'm just going to save my document as I'm working on it. Notice how I'm using this portion of the sheet, and I would really appreciate it if you do the same, because it tells me that what you're writing in this row, or row B, corresponds to the mathematical information that you're reporting. The other source is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should have at least 3 come from here, which was for the career research portion. So let's go back here and we'll finish this up. The date that I've accessed it on, according to year, month, and day. So today is the year 2012. It is December. I believe it was year, month, and day, and it is the 10th. And that should be, let's double check, separated by comma, and yes it is. What else do we need? We need the author's name, first and last, if it's available. And in this case, it is. So our last name was Langdon. First name was Libby. I'm going to save that. And I believe we have everything that we need. Perfect. So with that important information taken care of, I can now go back and focus on the solution to the problem. So I'm not going to begin the solution now, but I am going to start planning it through or planning it out. And then what I show on this sheet afterwards that I hand in will include all diagrams, all calculations, all written explanations that would help the reader to understand everything that you've presented. So with this particular problem, notice that we have a difference in the units of measure. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a conversion. So it seems as though we can go either way, but we could convert meters to inches. We're going to recall that the conversion factor for that, okay, just to give you an idea of what we do know, is that there are 2.54 centimeters per inch. Okay, so recall the connection between a centimeter and an inch. Okay, so what that means is that there would be 0.0254 meters in 1 inch. So that should help to do the conversion. Okay. Next up, so we'll do our conversion. We do want one panel, so I'm going to have to divide the window width by 2, that is to cut it in half. So I'll have one panel. That panel will be in meters, convert it into inches. Okay, so I'm going to have that ready to go. And then we know that the panel needs to be 1.25 to 1.5 times as wide as the window. So I'm going to take the answer that I've just received, so the half window measurement, which is now in inches, and I'm going to multiply that by 1.25, or which is 1.25, and that's going to give me my least width for curtain. And then I'll follow that up by multiplication by 1.5, so 1.5 times, which will give me my maximum width for a curtain. And then what I'll do at the end is to follow convention. The problem, that is, the window was given in meters, so I'll go back and report the answer in the same unit I started with. So I'll convert back to meters. Okay, so let's just go over this again, converting the metric measurement into a linear measurement, or inches, 2.54 centimeters per inch. So we know that there are 100 centimeters per meter. So with that being said, we'll have 0.0254 meters in 1 inch. We'll divide the window width by 2 to get that single panel size. Of course, the panel needs to be so many times larger, so that's why we multiplied by 1.25 and also by 1.5. We'll convert them back to meters, and then we'll provide a conclusion to the problem. Okay, so this is the kind of idea that I do need you to, or ideas I need you to incorporate into your work. So it will be a fair amount of work, given you are presenting 3 to 4 questions with no more than 2 coming from online sources, If you have any questions or difficulties in generating problems or finding them, you need to inform me as soon as possible, and we'll discuss an appropriate course of action. Okay, so in essence, this is what I need you to complete for part 2 of your project. Is a very significant portion. Once this part is done, then you can get into a more creative aspect of putting, not that this part is not creative, it's very creative in forming these problems and solving them, but then you can focus on a more aesthetic piece where you have to put together these elements on a poster board, PowerPoint, and a brochure, or some other form for presentation.